Hello. Before I introduce the materials for this project, I want to answer a question that someone asked. With this beautiful glass mat that I use from Tonic Studios, you can blend on it and do all sorts of crafts on it without destroying it, and it wipes off beautifully. So they asked, why do I always put paper down and work on the paper? And the answer is that while I'm videotaping, you get these reflections from the lights above, and I just find them disturbing to watch when I watch the video replay. So therefore, I always put down this paper, not when I'm crafting by myself, but when I'm videotaping a project. I do that. I hope it's a little easier on your eyes. Let me introduce the stamps I'm going to be using. They're from Lavinia. We have the Fir Tree 022, the 094 Fir Tree 1, the 489 Fairy Fir Small, 592 the Red Pine Small, and the 591 the Red Pine Large. I'll also be using the Horse and Carriage stamp, which is Lavinia 146. I'm also going to be using, from Bello's Designs, Circles Galore, this particular size right here, 1 3/8 inch. What I like about this is that with it, you also get the cutouts. And it's very nice to be given that option. Here, I'm going to use the 1 3/8 inch circle for the moon. As far as the inks go, I'm going to be using Versafine Clair Nocturne ink and Versafine Clair Morning Mist ink. I will be using Distress Oxides, Prize Ribbon, Stormy Sky, and I believe I'm going to add in some tumbled glass, shaded lilac, and fossilized amber. I'm also going to be using a little strip of acetate, which will help me produce the reflection on the pond. The following are the papers and sizes I've used. Multifarious 5 1/4 square. And then I cut out a black mat to put behind it at 5 3/8. 5 5/8 inch silver mirror cardstock. I went with a dark blue mat at 6 1/8 inch. And all this is going to go on a card, which I've already prepared, that's 6 1/4 square. And the envelope size will be 6 1/2 inches. Again, you'll find this at the bottom of the video. I have two beautiful pigment inks by Tsukineko, and this is Delicata White Shimmer, and this is Moonlight White Brilliance, and they both have a beautiful metallic, very nice glowy look. I especially like it for the moon. I pulled out a couple of ink blenders to use, and depending on my colors, I also have my white Posca pen and my Uniball Signo white pen. I'm ready to begin inking now with my prize ribbon, and I have a sheet of torn copy paper there. I will be using both halves of that paper. I'm going to start by lightly bringing in some of the blue color. This will be my horizon line. I will then work above that with the sky and the moon. I'm now going to use the other half of that mask to hide the landscape while I work on the sky. I will come back later to work again on the sky. And right now I'm taking the Stormy Sky ink and I'm going to be working on the snow areas on the bottom half. That horizon line is going to end up being obscured by the tree line that I'm going to be putting in. I will be repositioning the mask here and there to make the snowbanks. I'm using Stormy Sky ink. To form the pond and to give it its distinct icy appearance, I'm going to be bringing in 3 Distress Oxide inks: Tumbled Glass, Shaded Lilac, and Fossilized Amber. Using the pigment ink, Moonlight White, and a sponge dauber, I'm going to apply a little of it to the moon and then to the surface of the pond to give it a glistening effect. Without re-inking the blue blending brush, I'm going to use the mask to just make a few little lines in the sky and across the moon to give it the effect of perhaps clouds in the evening sky. With the landscape barely defined, I'm now going to start building the scene with the trees. After the trees are in, I can get more feel for where I'm going to put the slopes and the snow. I'm going to be using the Morning Mist Versafine Clair ink rather than black, so that it'll give it a subtle, softer effect. Any slight imperfections or corrections can be made with either the black pencil or the white pen later on. But right now I'm trying to vary the size of the trees and also their position and perspective by either making the trunk longer or shorter or stamping partial tree instead of the entire tree. Notice the tree line in the back is starting to form now. Now it's time to bring out the horse and carriage. I'm going to be stamping it with the Versafine Clair Nocturne, which is a black ink, because I want it to stand out and look bolder than the rest of the scenery. Since I'm not using my Misty platform to stamp this, I want to make sure that I have it inked up well and that I'm going to take my time and hold the stamp there for a while to let the ink have a chance to get absorbed into the paper. At this point, I'm going to take the Stormy Sky Distress Oxide ink again, and I'm going to start adding a little more snowbanks here and there to actually make or build up the landscape, especially the route where the horses are. At this point, I'm going to make the reflection of the carriage and one of the horses in the pond. Using the Nocturne Versafine Clair ink, I'm going to re-ink the stamp of the horse and carriage. Actually, not all the way. And then I'm going to stamp it onto the strip of acetate. Once I've done that, I'm going to place it ink side down onto the pond. And that will create the reflection. That reflection can later be tweaked or darkened with black pencil as needed. I'm bringing in the Posca pen now to really accent the whiteness of the snow in the moonlight. And I'm going to play with it, putting little bits here and there, again to further build up my scene. Finally, I decided to just add a little more Moonlight White pigment ink to the moon and around the moon and to the pond. So now it's time to finish the card. I am mounting this 5 1/4 square Multifarious card onto my black mat, which is 5 3/8 inches. I'm using a double stick tape runner, but some people prefer glue, so whatever is your choice. Once I've gotten this centered, then I'm going to mount this onto silver mirror card at 5 5/8 inch square. My next layer will be a dark blue piece of cardstock at 6 1/8 inch square. And finally, this will all be affixed to a top fold white card at 6 1/4 inch square. The envelope to fit this will be 6 1/2 inch square envelope. So there we have our finished card. I hope you've enjoyed crafting with me. This sort of reminds me of a poem I learned when I was a lot younger, Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening by Robert Frost. I hope you've enjoyed this video and will consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. Most of the supplies used in this video can be purchased at delbellosdesigns.com. We have 2 Facebook groups you may enjoy joining. One, Del Bello's Designs Lounge, where you can post your makes using Lavinia stamps and supplies. And the other, Del Bello's Designs a la carte, where you can post your other creations made with other craft suppliers that we carry.